Good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. Today is the 12th of November, 2021. It's a Friday afternoon, and we are continuing with our canvas. We are working on coffee with the Macaroons until we get our Christmas package, and then we will work with that. How are you doing today? Everyone is fine over here. It's already dark outside, but it is cloudy. Weird moon, sort of shining through the clouds. We had St. Martin Day yesterday, which means there's a tradition in Hungary that on St. Martin Day, it's a Catholic saint. We don't have saints in my religion. So on St. Martin Day, you're supposed to eat a goose. So not on Christmas. On Christmas, traditionally, I make stuffed cabbage and walnut and poppy seed rolls, breaded chicken breast fillet, mashed potatoes, cucumber salad, rice with veggies in it, and what we call bone soup over here, which is a nice beef soup bone, nice meaty soup bone that you cook for like 3-4 hours. And then that makes a delicious soup. And I put a lot of vegetables in it, carrots, parsnips, onions, parsley, celery, everything but the kitchen sink. No, that's usually the most vegetables that go in it. And then the broth, by tradition, has to be nice and clear with golden pearl-like little bits of fat from the soup bone. Not much, because we removed that. And it has to be clear, and then we serve it with what is called a thread noodle. This is a very, very thin noodle, like the thickness of a thread. And that's just actually put into hot water, boiling water, when it's cooked, because it's so thin. And we put the carrots and parsnips in the soup. The rest of the vegetables we don't. The meat that we cook in the soup and the rest of the vegetables, if someone wishes to eat it, it is served in a different platter. And then we serve the meat and the stuffed cabbage. Lately, in some of the houses, no soup is made if the stuffed cabbage, because they figure that's like the first course. And then after that comes the meat, potatoes, and veggies. And of course, the desserts are the poppy seed and the walnut seed roll, and the chestnut pudding, souffle, chestnut, grated, cook the sweet chestnuts, grated, and then put lots and lots of whipped cream on the top. And that's an also traditional dessert. My son loves that, his favorite. We will have the first birthday party for Levanta on Sunday. I have divided the people because there's just too many people for this small flat. So I have divided them, and I'm all set for that. We are training little monster away from baby food, and of course he's being potty trained. Well, Not too much success, but we're getting there. At least he knows how to get undressed, you know? What can I say? Should go down there. I want you to see more of that. There we go. I think that's better. So we have a lot of cooking to do. Hubby is on night shift because one of the groups wanted to come today, but I said, hubby is on night shift and he has to sleep. So let's keep the visiting to Sundays. And then my name day will be November 19th. It's Elizabeth Day. It's one of my names. It's also Lamenta's birthday. He was born on my name day. He's a name day present. He will be 2 years old. I got him the cutest books. You know, the kind of baby books that he can't eat. You know, it's a nice thick pages and pictures, of course, big pictures, and just a few words, you know. Mostly teach him the different kinds of cars and trains and everything. And the other one is a peekaboo book. It's the cutest thing. Well, of course you do know that children's toys are made for the parents. You know, you do realize that. If the parents like the toys, they will buy it. Kids have the weirdest taste. They fall in love with the strangest objects, you know. And of course you get the temper tantrum in the middle of the store. Yeah, you know. Yeah, we got the same. Laying on the floor, you know, the poor mistreated child. He only has half a toy store at his disposal. Soon there will be no room for the kids from the toys. So this is why I did not buy any toys. And of course he will get new clothes for Christmas, so I didn't buy any of that now. But I fell in love with the books. You know, they were so pretty. Don't let me get loose in a bookstore. You know, it's dangerous. Or a baby store, or a jewelry store. Actually, don't let me loose in any store. But really, I mean, he's 2 years old now, so we need to sit down with him and have story time and, you know, reading to him and pointing to things, having him repeat it increases his vocabulary. Because as I told you, in this country, in Hungary, they start nursery school. It's mandatory at age 3. Now he will be going sooner than age 3 because he was born in November. So he will start next September. He will actually be 2 years old then. So we are trying to get him into a schedule, the same routine that he will have when he goes to nursery school. Then the transition from babyhood to little boyhood will be much simpler and less traumatic. Of course, they all cry, and their mummies and daddies go out the door and they cry, you know, the usual tearful first day of school. But they're so cute. The older children that are going to first grade at age 6 or 7, depends on the month that they were born, they usually greet the babies, the little ones, and then they show them around. And once the kids see the new toys and the new little friends, you know, because of the lockdown and quarantine and what have you, he was not able to have the usual social introduction to other children that you would normally have. So now we're doing that part. Things are under control in Hungary. I'm trying not to pay attention to doomsday announcements made on the news, you know. We have plenty of material, and everybody's getting their flu shots and everything. Usual routine this time of year. So we're rather used to it, you know. You go and get your shots and you help keep yourself healthy. So during the holidays, you will not be restricted. And that includes the influenza that somehow disappeared last year, but is back in full force. So we get both of them. And I do believe in vaccination for the children. Now the problem with Romania next door to us is that they are rather lax in, I don't know why, but they're rather lax in vaccinations. And last year they had an outbreak of polio. Would you believe? I thought that was eradicated together with smallpox. And what was the other one? Measles, I think. You know, it's so strange to hear that because the children in this country are all vaccinated. And we think that these usual problems have already gone. And then we realize that in some parts of the world they're not so far away because the world has become so small, seriously. In some parts of the world, they're still struggling very real problems with what we thought were actually eradicated. We don't even hear about malaria. And I remember when my grandmother was visiting us in America, she all of a sudden developed a high fever, and she said it was from because she had malaria at some time. I know nothing about it, really. If I'm saying something stupid, please correct me. And I was rather surprised that you had that in Hungary, but then, you know, there's a little creek that goes behind her house. Well, of course, she passed on. She went to heaven already. And if the water level is low, then I guess the mosquitoes, I guess they did not have, you know, the mosquito killing every year that we do. Oh, please don't tell me, you know, poor mosquitoes. Actually, I think they're using now biological ways to control the mosquito population, because over here there's a river also. There's a big river called the Raba, and you do get quite a crop of those pests. And they do bring around, you know, the airplanes, and they dust the crops, and they dust the around the river, and of course around the Lake Balaton, because otherwise you can't even sit outside. The mosquitoes are so bad. I think there was a lot to be learned from this inconvenience that we've been having for almost 2 years now. I know as far as our digital education system, it has evolved tremendously, totally able to work it. Very few people do not have basic internet. Those people got their homework in an email, and of course, even the small villages have a library or the townhouse where internet is available or a Wi-Fi in some cases. Um, and in the smaller villages, then they would take the homework or the assignments for that day, they would take it to the children. In the small villages, everybody knows everybody, so they would take it to the house, written down on paper what they are supposed to be studying. Of course, no one was allowed to go into another child's house, and do the homework together. But where there were older children, they helped the younger ones. So it was all solved. From the tests, evaluation tests that were done, it doesn't look like they fell behind. The grade schools started opening sooner than the upper grades. And the colleges and the universities and the dormitories were the last to open. Especially now that the teenagers that also have a jab. So the major problems with the old folks home and the dormitories have been solved because they all have their jabs. And of course, a higher level of cleaning, sanitizing, etc. Just a little bit more attention given to, doorknobs and door frames, things that people touch. And there's hand sanitizers put out everywhere. Like when you go to the supermarket, I usually use it also before I touch the shopping cart, after I finish. And of course, the first thing you do when you come home is you wash hands. We have gone away from using plastic bags. So there are reusable, like net bags that you can put vegetables and fruit in, and they are washable. I have not tried to iron it. I don't think you could iron it, but it's perfectly enough to wash it because you are going to wash your fruits and vegetables also. In this country, we also wash eggs. Yes, I know. I had some people visiting. They were surprised. We wash eggs in like Clorox, the mild chlorine solution. I go, yeah, we wash eggs. So very health conscious. Refrigerator is disinfected, wiped down with the disinfected wipes. Everything is available to make life easy. Just have to pay a little more attention. And then it becomes a habit, I like it that the attendants in the, public restrooms, if they don't hear the water running after you use the bathroom, meaning you washed your hands and you dried it and you're using a sanitizer, then they will send you back to go wash your hands. Yeah. Usually if you take a Kleenex or whatever and you open the handle of the door with that, then you collect less germs. We don't really have to be that hysterical. Everything is so well cleaned and sanitized that, after a while, a smart little visitor will evolve itself to become immune to all the sanitizing we are doing. That's my opinion. That's about the same thing that happened with the antibiotics, isn't it? They were so much overused that some bacteria have become resistant to the antibiotics, which is an extremely big problem. There is still tuberculosis in some of the countries next to us. And there was a strain that did not respond to the medication. I really don't understand why there's always a problem, next door in the other country. Unless some people are in such remote villages or up in the forests or what have you that, well, of course, in the culture, plays a certain amount in how well people are vaccinated. And in some parts, medical care is not available. They have to travel to a larger village or a small city to get to a doctor. They would have a visiting doctor maybe once a week, but then they don't have a pharmacy. There is some improvements to be made, but working on it. Remember, we went from communism to socialism to democracy, and believe me, there were some problems along the way, which is, I think, is normal, until everybody sort of got the idea how things work. But we did manage to say goodbye to our wonderful Russian visitors who spent 45 years in our country. We gave them flowers, waved them a tearful goodbye with a white handkerchief at the train station. Goodbye, it was nice having you. Don't come back for a while. Lovely people. Kindly go home, stay there. We love visitors, but it'd be nice if they wouldn't stick around for a few decades, A couple of days is fine. There's a saying in Hungary. After 3 days, fish and visitors start to stink. It's a rough translation, but you get the gist of it. Well, we do tend to go overboard for visitors, visitors are kings and queens, so. Hospitality still is, I think, in the blood of majority of nations. Anywhere I traveled, I was always treated with the greatest kindness and respect. Even if the people didn't have that much, they would put the delicious, the most expensive piece of food in front of you, and, they would really honor the guests. So this is our Hungary. I would say Hungary has become very much westernized, and tourists that come here actually are expecting to see something totally different, considering it's Eastern Europe, and then they are very surprised that not much different from where they came from. I had the same experience when I was in Egypt. Everything that I find over here, I could find over there, supermarket, drugstore, everything. And I was like, I had to be reminded that, excuse me, you are in Africa. I go, really? I thought I was in the Middle East. That's how much I know about geography. I'm the kind of person that gets lost in their backyard. Yeah. I don't know why. especially at night. They shut off all the lights. When I used to be on the afternoon shift, I would go home around 10:30 at night. I would walk home. It was so dark, I had to go into a little side street to get to my house. Actually, I was cutting the corner off to get home faster. And before, I did not have a telephone or flashlight that I would light the way, and it was so dark that I would always pass by that little side road that I had to go down, and then I would have to turn around when I got to the corner and go, oops, I got lost again. So this is what I mean, I get lost in my backyard. In the village, it is a big backyard. Actually, there's a place for a house in the front, and then there's a front big yard. We used to grow vegetables there. Now we have a different plot just for veggie growing away from there. And then the house is in the middle, and then there's another big backyard toward the back. Because when we bought that house, there were no other houses and there was no street. It was like in the middle of a field. Actually, I liked it better when it was in the middle of the field. And then slowly, the territory was allotted for houses, and the young families started building houses there. And now there's a new street there with a new name, which meant that I had a new address, and I kept on trying to explain I did not move. The house moved. The name of the house moved. And they're like, what? I go, well, there wasn't any street, but the house faces the new street, so the address had to be put in with the name of the new street. They go, what new street? I go, the one that runs in front of the house. They go, there's no street there. I go, excuse me, there is a street there. They're like, well, it's not on the map here. I go, well, I don't care where it's not on the map there. I look out my window and I see a street, so definitely there's a street. Would you like me to take a picture of it and show it to you? Sometimes I wonder, do you have to have special traits to be seated behind a desk in an office? Because let me tell you, folks, no matter how many languages I speak, somehow I am not able to get myself understood until I don't scream, yell, and swear. And right away, then they understand you. I have no idea why that is. I was taught to be quiet and polite and, be considerate because they are doing a job. They are working with people all day long. It's not an easy job. And I'm like, but they don't want to understand. It's like when we moved into this flat where we are living in the city. Well, this is a brand new house. We are the first ones to occupy an apartment here. So actually it was so brand new that it actually was not even listed on the books as a finished apartment house. It was listed as a building site. So I went to register. That's the law in this country. You register where you are, and you have a picture ID, when in Rome. You know the story. This is what we do here. So I went in there, and I took the landlady's card that you're supposed to take there. And I'm like, I would like to register my address where I am staying. And she goes, you have an address. I go, yes, but that's not the address I'm staying at. I need to register an address where I am actually, my body is, not just my name. She goes, okay. She takes the papers, she goes to the computer, she goes to another computer, she goes to another third computer, she gets on the telephone. I'm sitting there like, now what? And then she comes back to me, excuse me, but you cannot live on a building site. I go, I am not living on a building site, and I'm living in an apartment, totally furnished with gas, electricity, water, garbage, everything, that you're supposed to have. And I'm paying it. And I have a landlady I pay rent to. She goes, well, you cannot rent a building site. I go, let's try this again. I am not living in a building site. I am living in an apartment. She goes, there is no house there. It's a 4-story apartment house on Main Street, across from telecom, and a bank, and a bakery. I mean, you cannot not notice the house. And their offices, on the ground floor, and solarium and what have you. She goes, there is no house on that address. I cannot put you down as you living in a construction site. So I was without a registered address in this city for a year. I did invite the lady to come over for coffee, and I will show you that I am not living on a construction site. So this is what I mean. And through all of that, I kept my cool. So that's the story of my moving to the city. So thank you very much for spending time with me this afternoon. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy. Please hit the like and the subscribe button. And I will see you the next time and tell you another hilarious story. Bye for now.